11. This chapter is all about communication in our relationships, specifically marriages and families. When I ask my students what they think are some of the #1 reasons that marriages fail, communication is often one of the first that they mention. And I agree, communication is very important in a long-term relationship. Here are some of the items you will see in this chapter. And again, I've brought forth the slides for the sake of the lecture. So family cohesion. This is togetherness, the emotional bonding that couples and family members have towards one another. Yes, we can have too much cohesion, or we can have too little, where we have a disengaged or disconnected relationship with our family. Experts advise a balanced level of cohesion is what is needed, one that combines a reasonable and mutually, meaning both agree, satisfying degree of emotional bonding with individual family members and their need for autonomy. So we have both cohesion and conflict, and both are a reality in families. We cannot go through a long-term marriage or a family relationship without having some conflict. So we have to think positive about that. One of the favorite quotes that I have learned along the way is fight for the relationship to win. When you fight together for a common goal, then you fight fair and have a positive outcome. Communication does lend itself for couple satisfaction. Couples have to have what we call relationship ideologies. In other words, what is the ideal expectation? We cannot expect everything to be roses, because it just isn't going to all be roses, because we're going to get daisies along the way, which is perfectly fine by me, because daisies are my favorite flower. To me, they represent purity and sunshine. And we have to remember we need to give 100% without expecting anything in return. And I have a story to share about that, and I'm going to put it in this week's discussion, so you'll get to read it there. Couples also differ in their attitudes toward conflict. What matters is whether the partner's actuality matches the ideal. There are 10 rules for successful relationships. Express love verbally. We have to tell each other that we love each other. Be physically affectionate, that public display of affection in appropriate manners. Express your appreciation. Let each other know what you appreciate about them, and many times in verbal and nonverbal ways. Help the relationship or family to become an emotional support system. That's what families should be all about. We should go there to be supported. Express your affection in material ways. Now, that does not have to cost a lot. We can spend very little and show our appreciation. I wished I would have discovered sticky notes, because sticky notes can be a wonderful way to show how much you appreciate each other and show affection. When my husband and I were first married, both of us were traveling at various times, and what we would do would be to put sticky notes in each other's suitcases. And my husband was the most creative with this. He would put in like 10 sticky notes with a word on each one that I would have to find and put together to complete a sentence. So most likely, the minute I got to the motel room, I was opening my suitcase, dumping it clear out, finding all the sticky notes so I could see what that message was going to be. Accept your family members' shortcomings. We all have shortcomings, so we have to accept those, embrace those, and understand that is the way they are. Do unto each other as you would have the other do unto you. Good old golden rule. Doesn't get any better than that. Share more about yourself with your partner than you do with any other person. This shows an intimate relationship. You have to make time to be alone together. And once you have a family, you will have to make those dates. Nothing like planning to spend time together. If you just let it happenstance, it's not going to happen. You have to make that time. Ellen Friedman, a wonderful author, she says that we need a weekly date with our spouse, every 3 weeks, a weekend together, and once a year, a whole week-long vacation. So we have to make our relationship a priority and never take it for granted. Stress, coping, and conflict. Boy, does conflict ring a bell with these slides? Experts advise that we have to have a relationship-focused coping. So focus on the relationship, not the individual. There is conflict in happy marriages, and we need to see this as challenges, or my husband would call them opportunities to grow together rather than avoiding. Anger should be expressed directly. I feel messages. I feel, it puts the blame on you rather than you make me so mad. That directs the anger at another person and makes them defensive. But if you tell them how you feel, angry, upset, frustrated, worried, and then why, then that helps diffuse that anger and you can share it in a positive way. Indirect expressions of anger, we have 3 different types here. The passive-aggressive, that's where you express anger indirectly. Passive aggression, not passion, passive aggression occurs as an individual engages in some form of passive resistance when they're angry at the other person, such as making the couple late to an event that they know is important to that other person. Sabotage is when you get revenge or payback. Displacement is where a person directs anger at people or things that they cherish. So kicking the dog, taking it out on your kids. No, they don't deserve that. It belongs to your partner, so you need to place the anger at them. John Gottman did research on couple communication and conflict management, and he has what we call the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse: contempt, criticism, defensiveness, and stonewalling. And he proposed that these were often the things that came ahead of divorce. So if you had these in your relationship, then that would be directing you toward divorce. And then later he added belligerence to that. Stonewallers, that's where you involve resistance. Refusing to take a partner's complaints seriously. So you may fear rejection or retaliation and therefore hesitate to acknowledge your emotions. It's better to get those emotions out in the open. Gender differences in communication. One of my favorite authors on this topic is John Gray. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. But Deborah Tannen is also an excellent author on gender differences in communication. Her book entitled You Just Don't Understand, where she argues that men typically engage in report talk, where they convey information about a relationship, where women engage in rapport talk, where their goal is to gain intimacy or rapport. So that concludes the slides that will be helpful to you on this week's Mind Tap activities. Good luck.